What's going on, my favorite little freaks? We have an interesting video today. So someone in the Polarity community just posted this in our Discord yesterday, and basically someone has found what looks like a UFO being uncovered in the middle of the desert. Now, not only is this just wild, but I can't get over, how do people find these things? Like, this thing is literally in the middle of nowhere. And what's interesting is when you look at the historical pictures on Google Earth, it only appeared in the last year. There was nothing there before. So we're going to be diving into that today, doing a little bit of digging to see what we can find. But if it's your first time watching the channel, welcome. My name is Josh. This is Polarity. We dig into the phenomenon and everything weird in the world around us. Consider subscribing if that sounds like your kind of jam. And if you're not new here, welcome back, you little weirdo. All right, so we're here on Google Earth, and the magic number that we need to punch in here is 2808 46 north 648 17 east. And when we hit that, we are going to get taken to the middle of Algeria with what appears to be a UFO crash site. So first of all, before we get in too close here, let's just zoom out a little bit first. Okay, I want to show you guys exactly where this thing is. So the closest town is Borj Omar Driss. I'm not going to pretend like I've ever heard of that before. And it's in the middle of Algeria, in the desert. Closest border would be Libya. I mean, it's essentially in the middle of nowhere. Let's go back in. Now, this, to me, looks like what I would describe as a UFO being excavated out of the ground. Maybe it was crashed. I don't know. But if we zoom in a little bit closer, we can see there are like trucks around it. There are small buildings set up. And I mean, when you look at this thing, you can see the shadow being cast just around here. So you know that this little circle in the middle is raised up. It's higher than the outside. And that's what's casting the shadow, which, you know, sounds exactly like a saucer with a little dome on the top. Classic shape that we see all the time. And if we use the ruler feature here, and we just go from point to point, this thing is almost 20 meters, which is 63 feet for all the Americans playing at home. So this thing's pretty big, okay? Pretty big. It's kind of hard to get a depth gauge on it, but considering it's dug into the ground, there's a little bit of height. I think it's a bare minimum. We could probably say this thing is at least a few meters high. Now, what else is interesting here is if we click on the layers down the bottom and scroll down to historical imagery, we can actually look at what was going on in this area almost for like the last decade or two. So what we'll do, we'll zoom in, we'll have a little scroll back. So when we go back to 2021, which is the last image available before this one, nothing there. So let's go back. The next one is 2020. This place is essentially nothing. There's nothing going on here. 2016. 2013, 2012. Now, the only difference you can see there is between 2012 and 2013, these little markings seem to appear around the outside of the area. See these little dots almost in like a square shape to this parallel with this road? They only appear on the 2013 shot onwards. And we keep going back. 2010. 2006, and then there's a photo from 1985 apparently, which I did not realize they were taking photos like this in the middle of the 80s, but let's take a look. Okay, well, these are I guess that's the kind of cameras they had in the middle of in the middle of the 80s. So as you can see, this thing does not appear at all up until 2023. So as wild as this thing looks, a part of me is thinking like, there's just no way this could be on Google Maps, because surely it would be hidden with the kind of secrecy that's behind all of this stuff. But at the same time, I'm thinking, what the hell is that though? Like, I can't think of anything else that would be or looks like, especially considering there's nothing there before and there's nothing around it. So I decided to ask ChatGPT. I basically just copied in the photo and said, what does this look like to you? It's a screenshot from Google Maps in 2023. When looking at historical imagery in the same place, there is nothing here, just empty desert. And to my surprise, the first thing that ChatGPT said was this: This satellite image from Google Maps in 2023 shows what appears to be a circular disc-like structure in a remote desert area. Surrounded by disturbed earth, construction equipment, and temporary structures, it strongly resembles a UFO-style disc, either partially buried or being excavated or constructed. An art installation, film set, or potentially a military or private aerospace project involving a mock-up or prototype. A staged crash site, either for simulation, media production, or training. The fact that historical imagery shows nothing in the location raises some eyebrows, especially if it suddenly appears in recent satellite views. This sudden emergence can fuel a few speculative interpretations. And it went on to list a couple of things, none of which were like a prosaic explanation. In fact, one of them, it even references the Wilson Davis notes, which is wild to me. And it makes me more sus on ChatGPT because obviously I use ChatGPT for what I do. And I feel like it learns about me, and I have a feeling that maybe it's a little bit biased because it knows I'm interested in UFOs, and I feel like maybe that's why it's responded this way. I can't prove that, but lately, ChatGPT seems to kind of tell you what you want to hear, maybe bend the truth the way that it thinks you want to hear it. That's just my opinion. I can't prove that, but I still wasn't really happy with the answers I was getting because I thought there has to be something going, there has to be some answers here. So what I did was I took the same screenshot that I pasted into ChatGPT and I put it into a Google image search. I reverse image searched it and a Reddit thread popped up from only a few days ago. So this thing has just popped up in the last few days. Again, I don't know who does this stuff, who finds these things. The person who posted it basically has no answers, just like us going, what the hell is this? They said they saw it on a YouTube short. And the top comment is kind of what I agree with, basically saying they would 100% camouflage the site from satellites, so I would say no, basically saying this is not a UFO. Someone actually weighed in on the giant UFO that Ross Coulthard's mentioned. They said, it's like people looking for that UFO so big they built a building around it. I doubt they would build a perfectly circular building around it, and that means people are assuming that it's an old-fashioned flying saucer also. It's more going to resemble how they put a cover over Chernobyl, I think. And I've said that as well. When we did our videos looking into the giant UFO, I don't necessarily think we're looking for a saucer-shaped object. Now, a lot of people recently actually have been contacting me, talking about how when AJ from the Y-Files was on Rogan, I think it was, they talked about Stephen Greer mentioning that the giant crash UFO is in South Korea.
Had dealt with a facility outside Seoul, South Korea, where there was a huge extraterrestrial vehicle that they had downed with apparently some type of electronic warfare system that was they had to carve out a huge part of the mountain just to contain this object because it was too big to move to any other site, and that it is still there.
We've known Greer has been saying that for a long time, even before I made my videos on it. But the thing is, Ross Coulthard specifically has mentioned that that giant UFO is connected to the Five Eyes Alliance. So that's why I never really included the South Korea thing, because it doesn't really fit that. And also, when you look at the South Korea thing, it is a perfect circle. And like this guy here has said, it kind of seems silly that they would build a perfectly circular building over it, because that's not really a conventional style building, which would draw attention to it. I don't know. But then I guess we are just assuming that this thing is a saucer shape. Who knows? There's just layers and layers of mystery and questions with all of this stuff. But anyway, we kept looking, and then I found this comment. It's a foundation for a wind turbine source. I'm an engineer and I know someone who does this, and they linked a YouTube video. Let's check this out. Well, I think it's pretty hard to argue with that. I think we may have found an answer here. But the only thing is, now I'm no wind turbine expert, okay? But these wind turbines are usually done in groups, right? You don't just have one in the middle of nowhere. Because when we look at this thing, it kind of looks like it's in the middle of nowhere, right? And I was a little bit sus on that because as far as I was aware, these wind turbines are like a farm. They're like part of a system where they're all stacked together. So I did a little bit of looking around. And when we come straight south for a while, there it is. Yeah, it's a wind turbine. We found it. I know. It's disappointing, isn't it? You know, you get a little bit excited. You think you found something and it's a wind turbine. But, you know, I think it's important to look at this stuff and see this and realize how easy it is to get a little bit caught up in the source and thinking that you found something when actually there is often just a pretty regular explanation for what is going on here. But, you know, that doesn't mean there isn't crazy stuff going on out there. That doesn't mean people don't find crazy things on Google Earth all the time, because it does happen. We see things getting airbrushed off of Google Maps all the time. This thing was interesting. I'm glad this got posted in the Discord because we got to get to the bottom of it and find some answers. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who may have seen this, who don't know that it's a wind turbine, or there's maybe people who are yet to see it, and now they're at least going to get some quick confirmation that, unfortunately, it's not a UFO. I wish it was. I really wish it was too. So it's just a quick one today, guys. I just wanted to run through that because we're out here looking for answers. We want the truth. And sometimes the answer is wind turbine. I hope you're all staying safe out there, guys. The next time you see me, hopefully I will be in the new Polarity studio, which is actually just another room in my house, but it sounds cool when we say studio. Take care. Look after yourselves, guys. Be good, be kind, and I will see you soon.